Tears, making garlands or any other service, please keep sound at the lowest. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Okay.
This one on.
This is really going to cover my face. Can we remove this?
Yes.
You don't want? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Just put it down. Yeah. Can you put it here? So you're welcome to our Sunday feast here. And today's talk will be from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 8, text. Let me see the text. Text 3. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 3. The title of this chapter is Attaining the Supreme. Before then, we quickly invoke the mercy of Radha Madhava. That's our tradition, because we are not alone and we always seek for blessings to be able to move on. So, very quickly, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravana Chari Jamuna Tiravana Chari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotra Satat Sisima, the Divine Grace is Acharya Srila Abhay Charana Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Papa Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotra Satat Sisima, the Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Papa Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Pram Sikahav Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Si Gora Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Si Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Syama Kunda Radha Kunda Girigopathan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Sri Mayapadam Ki, Sri Navadvip Dham Ki, Sri Jagannapuri Dham Ki, Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki, Srimati Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vinda Ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the Saman devotees. All glories to the Saman devotees. All glories to the Saman devotees. All glories to Sister Gauranga Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 8, text 3, in the matter of attaining the Supreme. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Sabhavo Dhyatmam Uchyate Bhuta Bhavo Bhavakaro Vishaga Kama Sangita. So, please kindly respond to repeat. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Aksharam, indestructible. Brahman, Paramam, transcendental. Swabhava, eternal nature. Adhyatmam, the self. Ushyate is called Bhuta Bhava Udbhava Karaha, producing the material bodies of the living entities. Vishagaha, creation. Karma, fruitive activities. Samgitaha is called. So, translation, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self, Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma or fruitive activities. Please kindly responsibly repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said. The indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman. And his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of living entities is called karma or fruitive activities. So Krishna defines karma here. Definition of karma. In every word has a denotative and connotative meaning. This is the connotative meaning of karma as given by Lord Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita, the supreme authority of Vedic knowledge. Sometimes we get confused. So what is karma? There's so many, we can give so many definitions based on our understanding, but basically this is a very good, simple approach to the definition of karma. Actions that lead to development of different type of bodies. When we see bodies, trees, aquatics, humans, whatever, species, we should know karma is at work. That's an evidence that karma is that's an evidence that karma is at work. The theory is evolving, it's at work, it's going on very nicely. If we cease to see bodies, then we can dispute karma. If we see in different forms, then we should know karma is perfectly going on. So, purport. Brahman is indestructible and eternally existing, and its constitution is not changed at any time. But beyond Brahman, there is Para-Brahman. Brahman refers to the living entity, and Para-Brahman refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The constitutional position of the living entity is different from the position he takes in the material world. In material consciousness, his nature is to try to be the Lord of matter. But in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, his position is to serve the Supreme. When the living entity is in material consciousness, he has to take on various bodies in the material world. That is called karma, or varied creation by the force of material consciousness. In Vedic literature, the living entity is called Jivatma and Brahman, but he is never called Param Brahman. The living entity, Jivatma, takes different positions. Sometimes he merges into the dark material nature and identifies himself with matter. And sometimes he identifies himself with the superior spiritual nature. Therefore, he is called the Supreme Lord's marginal energy. According to his identification with material or spiritual matter, or spiritual nature, he receives a material or spiritual body. In material nature, he may take a body from any of the 8,400,000 species of life, but in spiritual nature, he has only one body. In material nature, he is manifested sometimes as a man, a demigod, animal, beast, bird, etc., according to his karma. To attain material heavenly planets and enjoy their facilities, he sometimes performs sacrifices, yajna. But when his merit is exhausted, he returns to earth again in the form of a man. This process is called karma. The Chandogya Upanishad describes the Vedic sacrificial process. On the sacrificial altar, 5 kinds of offerings are made into 5 kinds of fire. The 5 kinds of fire are conceived of as the heavenly planets, clouds, the earth, man, and woman. And the 5 kinds of sacrificial offerings are faith, the enjoyer, on the moon, rain, grains, and semen. In the process of sacrifice, the living entity makes specific sacrifices to attain specific heavenly planets and consequently reaches them. When the merit of sacrifice is exhausted, the living entity descends to earth in the form of rain, then takes on the form of grains, and the grains are eaten by man and transformed into semen, which impregnates a woman, and thus the living entity once again attains the human form to perform sacrifice, and so repeat the same cycle. In this way, the living entity perpetually comes and goes on a material path. The Krishna conscious person, however, avoids such sacrifices. He takes directly to Krishna consciousness and thereby prepares himself to return to Godhead. Impersonalists, commentators on the Bhagavad Gita unreasonably assume that Brahman takes the form of Jiva in the material world. And to substantiate this, they refer to chapter 15, verse 7 of the Gita. But in this verse, the Lord also speaks of the living entity as eternal fragment of myself. That means Lord Krishna's fragmental parts. The fragment of God, or Krishna, the living entity, the fragment of God, the living entity may fall down into the material world. But the Supreme Lord, Achyuta, never falls down. Therefore, this assumption that the Supreme Brahman assumes the form of Jiva is not acceptable. It is important to remember that in Vedic literature, Brahman, the living entity, is distinguished from Para-Brahman, the Supreme Lord. Omagiyana Timirandasya, Ginajana Salakaya, Sakshuru Militam, Jena Tasmai, Se Gurave Namaha, Suchetayam Anobistam, Stafitam, Jena Bhutali, Swayam Rupam, Kadamayam, Dadati Swa, Padantikam. Vanchakalpataribhyacha, Kripasundabhya evacha, Patitanam, Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutali, Semati Bhaktivedanta, Swami Etinamani, Namaste, Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pacharini, Nirvisesa Sunyavadi, Pasatya Disatarini. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadara, Sivasadi, Sri Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So again, welcome everyone to Central New Jersey, famous temple here in New Jersey. So in New Jersey, we have only 2 temples, right? Where is Madhu? Okay. In Jersey, we have only 2 temples? This place in Tobacco? Yeah. Really? In Brindavan, they have many, many temples. You know that? Okay, so here in this text is making us understand karma, karma. Krishna gives the definition of karma. See, one of the beauties of Krishna consciousness is that when we come to Krishna consciousness, we should endeavor not to become armchair devotees. Armchair means you just sit down, you do nothing. There are so many activities in Krishna consciousness. And one of the activities is reading Prabhupada's books. If we don't read these books, we will be cheated. One day, we will be cheated. So every day, a devotee in Krishna, especially in the Hare Krishna movement, in ISKCON, we are highly encouraged to read Prabhupada's books. Because, according to Prabhupada, these are going to be the law books for mankind for thousands of years to come. So if that time comes, how are you going to be able to help with the development of people if we don't read the books to understand the philosophy? So that is one advice I would like to share amongst ourselves. Because in Kali Yoga, we are not inclined to read. We don't like to read. If I ask you, I don't want to make the research here, but I remember on one occasion in a particular country, students, that's even in school, in college. So the professor picks one of the students and says, what type of watch you're using? He says, this type, whatever. And so he said, oh, I have the same type of watch you're using. Exactly the same type. Student and the professor, the same type of watch. So he said, all right, don't look at your watch. But tell me, what are the words that are written? The words, not numerals. What are the words that are written on your wristwatch? First he asked, how many years have you been using this wristwatch? About 2 or 3 years. Then he asked, what are the words inscribed on that wristwatch? The student doesn't know. All he knows is a particular brand of watch he's been using. For 2 years, I'm just saying, we are not inclined to reading in Kali Yoga. We may have something, tie it on our hand, and we don't even know the content. We don't read it. But we should have a different approach to spiritual life, because the reading of the books helps to purify our intelligence. So we are talking about karma. Why are we having different type of bodies on this planet? In America here, basically we have whites, Hispanics, American Indians or Indians, African Indians or Africans. Why this variegatedness in human society? Why different colors of bodies? Why different type of skins? Or you may say, it's the environment that we are born into. Why was someone born into a particular type of environment? Why was someone born in Iraq or Afghanistan or Honduras? Why was someone born there? Not in New Jersey, which is peaceful. So, we also find that, people are endowed with different type of potencies in terms of wealth, values. Some people, you find them, they are so attractive, they are so beautiful. And some other people, they are so unwholesome. Oh yeah. Why do you think that people are looking for beautiful wives to marry? Or why do you think that people are looking for handsome men to marry? Women are looking for handsome men. You tell me one young girl is looking for some ugly man to marry? I don't think so. So, there are some values, some potency that people are looking for, some. So So Lord Krishna he's called the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he's Bhagawan. He possesses all of the opulences that you can think of. And what are those opulences? Yes, help us. Beauty, yeah? Riches, wealth, strength, fame. Huh? No, let me hear from the ladies also. What? Knowledge. Achha. You say knowledge because you know what they bring up knowledge? Because in the whole of this universe, a woman is the minister for education, for knowledge. Saraswati, she is the mistress of education, the whole universe. Not Commissioner of Education in New Jersey. But if even you are a commissioner for education in New Jersey, that's also good karma. So even in position, we find that people are not the same. Some people are born as they're born as kids to some woman who is crazy on the road. I've seen that. I was traveling one time in one country. I was in a car, going to some place with some devotee, and I saw this pregnant lady on the road. She's, mentally deranged. So you think about it. That child that is in that womb, that's a good karma? No, of course. But why? One may say, oh, she's such an innocent child. Who told you? Who said it's an innocent child? So why is she there? Why is she there in the womb of that crazy woman? So we may claim that we are innocent. We are innocent victims. It means that we don't have deep knowledge about the principle of karma. So the point is that if we take the different species, 8,400,000 species of life, and according to Prabhupada and the purport, these are based on activities. The living entities is given a particular type of body, but in a particular setting, based on past activities. So that claim of innocent victims, it cannot be substantiated in the Vedic knowledge. You can't substantiate it. Then it implies that there is imperfection in the universal organizational setting or universal justice. And even in politics, in management sciences, they understand this principle of karma. They have different names. We have different names. I have published some work in management, a management peer review journal, and I talked about karma. I have published some work in some journal in comparative karma. In that paper, some years ago, in 2001 or so, I did a comparative study of karma, a comparative study of the Hare Krishna teachings and some African traditional culture. So people understand. In Africa, there are some people, like when I was doing that research on karma, the comparative study of Prabhupada's teachings and the African traditional culture, when I was interviewing some people, they say, this does not require any, scholarship. We have seen cases. We have seen cases where a child is born, the child just keeps crying, nothing, breastfeeding, nothing. The child won't do anything. And they have a way of consulting. And then they make some consultation and they find out this child who is crying says that he was the grandfather of such and such a person, and I'm coming again. And so they should give me that very name. Otherwise, you just keep trying your best, and then I'll give you trouble. Sometimes they defy it, and then nothing is resolved. until, in a specific case, this interviewee, the research participant was mentioning that until immediately they gave the name of that grandfather to that baby, he stopped crying. Automatically, the baby stopped crying. So, in African traditional religions, African traditional culture, they understand karma. And in some places, I know in northern part of Nigeria, in some decades ago, maybe about 3 decades, 4 decades ago, you are a petty businessman. In some communities, they don't close their shop. They don't lock their shops. It just kept open till the next day. The person may go to sleep. They don't lock it. And nobody goes there to steal anything. Why? Because if you steal something, you will come and announce the next day that you stole something because you'll be so sick. So, when I was doing that research, it was so easy because the people understand karma already. But karma is all pervasive. I'll give you a typical example in the Trump era. Cohen was Trump's personal lawyer. Now he embarked on some certain things. Of course, he claimed that he got messed up because he was trying to cover the dirty deeds of his boss. But the point is that at that time nothing happened to him. It was like, whew, I'm a lawyer. I work for this gentleman. He's my client, big boss. Nothing will happen, I could do anything I want to do. But, later, things that we are not even connected with that, in America, once you get involved in a case of inquiry, it might be how this car was stolen. But once you get involved in a case whereby, whether you are the witness or the accused, they will investigate all of you first before, along with that case. It's not just going to be that case. You will be screened. And that is how they got a number of these people implicated. So Cohen was a typical example. Some things we had done in the past, and, nobody knew that he would catch up with the reactions. What about the legal system? The general legal system is based on karma. Someone performs some activity that is against the Constitution or is against you went at a speed that is against or that contravenes the road traffic edicts of New Jersey, and you are apprehended by the cops. What is that? That is karma. Actions that bring about a particular reaction. So it's not that I believe in karma and somebody else says, I don't believe in karma. Except we don't understand what karma means. It's like some people say, I don't believe in reincarnation. It's not a belief. It's just a scientific fact. So if you talk about even reincarnation, which basically is very interrelated with karma, talk about reincarnation, what does that mean? It means that, scientifically speaking, every 7 years, the body undergoes some, metabolic degeneration. New cells are built up. And so, every 7 years, we are getting new bodies, new cells. What does that mean? We are refreshing ourselves. That is external reincarnation. The body is getting old, from boyhood. Dehi nosmin yata dehe, kumara, yavanamjara. Who is not getting old? Well, we are all little kids. And so from childhood, you get to the stage of a youth. And, life goes on like that. It seems very, very sweet in the beginning, But when you're getting older, you find that life is not so juicy as you were expecting. Because you have all these type of cramps and different type of diseases, the body becomes like, so much vulnerable to all types of infections. So the body had changed, or the body keeps changing. And ultimately, at the time of death, we say, oh, he is gone. He's gone to where? I remember when I was a kid in grade 3, I came back home one day, and then my uncle was dead. But I didn't know what death meant at that time. And so, little kids just coming back from school, and I was whistling, and someone came to tell me, oh, don't whistle. I said, why? I said, why? He said, your uncle is gone. So I didn't understand what she meant. That was my aunt. So when I heard of his name, I just went straight to his apartment. I went there, and people were gathering. He was on a bed there, not talking. So then I turned to my aunt and said, you say he's gone. Look at him there. He's gone to where? He said, oh, you're a small boy, you don't understand. But then later, I couldn't see him again. So from childhood, I think from that time, when I went to grade 4, 4th grade, I was not seeing this fellow. So I started investigating. When they say someone is gone, where do they go? Or when they say someone is dead, where do they go? Yeah, that was my cause of investigations. And therefore, some people are born, they die early. Some people grow old until 80-something, 90. My father just passed away. Somehow or the other, he managed to climb 80-something years. He's so lucky. So, people are changing their bodies. That is karma at work. Why is it everyone does not just die at the same time? Why is everyone not living their bodies at the same time? So we have different prices to pay. We have planted some seeds in the past, and based on those seeds that we planted, we are going to reap some particular type of fruits. Fruits. If you sow rice in the rice plantation, what you're going to harvest will be rice. Will it be something else? Will it be something else? I don't think so. So the bottom line is that karma is a definite factor. It's been substantiated even in scientific journals. People have performed some experiments. They have done some studies, and they've found that, people have experienced different reactions based on the activities. Sometimes it comes very fast. Sometimes it stays on for years before you get the reactions. I mean, it's like different type of diseases. If you get infected by some liver disease like hepatitis C, the virus is in your system for like 20 years. 20 years. Oh yeah. Before it start rearing up. If you're lucky, before it start rearing up, and you go for some medical test and then they detected it's okay. But otherwise, it takes about 20 years before you start feeling the effect that you are on a death row. So sometimes the activities we perform, it takes a long time for us to get the reactions. Sometimes it takes to the next life. So as a jiva, we have always been changing bodies because of our thought patterns. And our thought patterns produce particular types of activities. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport, it distinguishes between the Jiva-Atma or Brahman and the Param Brahman. The Jiva-Atma or Brahman is vulnerable to changes. I mean, it's like we have the low, if you go by the river or by the ocean, sometimes the tide is low, there's a flow tide, and then there is an ebb tide. So when the tide is, when the water, when the ocean is having an ebb tide, And you may stand by the bank, it's dry. But when the flow tide comes, that place is flooded. That is the nature of the jiva. That is our nature. We can align with the Supreme or with the Antaranga Shakti, or we may align with Bahiranga Shakti, material energy. Bahiranga Shakti means material energy. We could align with the material energy, become, a puppet in the hands of the material energy, or we can choose to serve Krishna and be under the shelter of Antaranga Shakti. It's just simple two choices. You can't say, I'm going to be a mediocre. I'm not making, it's not optional. It's not optional that you have to be a mediocre. No. It's two things you have to choose. Either we align with Antaranga Shakti, a spiritual energy, serve Krishna, become protected, get out of this material world, at the end of this life, go back home, back to Godhead, or we feel we are very comfortable here. I have all the resources. Let me be here. And you don't care for anything. Good for you. But from experience, we have seen that this material world, Bahiranga Shakti, has no sympathy for anybody. No matter how much resources you have, you can't bribe the Bahiranga Shakti. Bahiranga Shakti deals with us as much as, as we merit. And so look around. Are there any faces that are even identically the same? No. Even so-called identical twins, there's a little bit of difference. Because they have performed different activities in their past lives. There is some difference. Even people in terms of tolerance or permissive variation, people may be identical twins, but their permissive variation or their rate of tolerance is different. Their values are different. Everyone in this world is a unique being. And that is because of the principle of karma. If there is no karma, there will be uniformity. Everything will just be the same. One cannot be more than the other person, or more intelligent than the other person, or more wealthy than the other person, or more beautiful than the other person, whatever. But karma works. And that is why we need to revamp our spiritual practices so that we create a viable future for ourselves. So that we don't have to take a risk to come back to this material world. It's a risk. It's a big risk. I'll give you an example. Okay, you may say, well, I like to enjoy my life as much as possible. I don't really give a damn about, spiritual life and all this stuff. Good for you. But I've seen cases where people even have children and they regret of having the children. Why? Because the children came after them with a gun. With a gun. Give me this or I'll finish you. I've seen that. Your son or your daughter comes to you with a gun. Hey, daddy, give it to me or you're done. My point is, the world is a place where we have so much of interactions, of actions and reactions. And based on our consciousness, we invoke, based on the collective consciousness of the spouses, we invoke different type of souls with different type of consciousness and mindset into our families. And it's just so easy to blame, blame society, blame the teachers. What about we? We don't blame ourselves. We blame the teachers. Teachers, call the teachers a bad dog and kill them. Bad name. Give a dog a bad name to kill it. We don't want to take responsibilities. Why? That's our nature, you know. Ahara nida baya metuna. We like self-defense. We protect ourselves. A baya means defense. We like to protect ourselves. Everybody, people who don't even go to law school, we tend to behave like self-willed lawyers. We like to defend ourselves. Even a little child in the house, they do something. He said, "Did you do this?" He said, "No, Daddy." They did it. And so when your child does that next time, don't spank the child. It's just our nature. Can you hear this? When your child does that next time, don't spank the child. It's our nature. Ahara nidra baya. Baya is our default nature that we like to protect ourselves. So lying is just natural. If you're not a liar, if you never lied, you're a unique person on this planet. But even the lying will create another karma for you. You try to protect yourself by lying. Look at all of these ex-allies of our honorable POTUS. Some of them, they were indicted and they went to jail because of lying. In America, to lie to FBI is a big deal. Can you hear that? Yes. But it's our nature to lie. The conditioned entity is our nature. We lie. We lie to our spouses. We lie to our children. We lie to our neighbors. We lie to our boss. We lie to our employees. Yeah. Anyway, let's understand that karma goes and karma comes. It's a vicious circle. And therefore, we should learn to do the things that will hurt nobody. Learn to do things that will hurt no one. And then you can be rest assured you're going to be peaceful. If we hurt people, the beauty of understanding the Vedic knowledge is that if even you're a Paramahamsa, you hurt somebody, you will pay the price. Hare Krishna. Are there some comments or questions at this point? I have 5 minutes more. I'm looking at the time. Yes, any comments? Yes, questions. Can you give some time? Just a minute.
Maharaj, can you explain a little bit about some people died,
Mm-hmm.
like in 9/11, so many people died at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because of their karmas or?
You see, when people are murdered like this, we should be very tactful. We should be very careful. Spiritual philosophy, we should be very careful. Because we may say the blunt truth, and it hurts people. I mean, it's like somebody, a young undergraduate asked me that she's a girl. She asked me one country. She asked me that, her friend has been reporting to her about some problems she was going through. So she said, is it okay to tell her that, no, you take it easy. This is your karma. No, I said, no, we don't talk like that. I said, you should empathize with this person. Don't tell her that, oh, you're suffering, it's your karma. Someone is suffering, they don't want to hear your philosophy, It's a bitter pill. So, yeah, like in 9/11, basically we understand that. Like the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there was a bunch of people coming together, but it's collective karma. But you don't want to talk to them in the public that, hey, you know what? 9/11, I have an idea. It's collective karma, terrorism. People came, killed so many people from a terroristic approach. So you don't go and tell people that, it's like the girl who was asking me, can I tell my friend that you're suffering because of your karma? No. We should know it to ourselves, but don't make a proclamation out there that, it's collective involvement. Otherwise, why would this have happened? So they will say, well, I don't believe in God, and this thing you're talking to me is just so painful. My brother died, and you're saying that it's collective karma. What do you mean by collective karma? So when things happen, we may understand the inner bearing, we may have an insight into it, but because this is purely like a political issue, people come from some other place, there was a connivance, and then they come to inflict pain on people, kill so many people. So yeah, we understand that. Nothing actually moves without the sanction of the absolute. But my point is, we should be tactful when we're dealing with the public in terms of issues, policies, and this type of disasters. Yeah, does it answer your question? Yeah, any other comments before we leave? Yes. Do you have a microphone to give to the ladies? No. Give to the ladies first. Why are you forcing me? We say ladies and gentlemen. So ladies first, isn't it? You don't know why we say ladies and gentlemen? You don't know? You better know. Now. Yes.
Regarding ahara nidra bhayamaituna, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. In eating, we know when to eat, when not to eat. When we are hungry, we eat. When we are not hungry, we don't eat. Sleeping also, we know when we are tired, we sleep, and it's regulated. And same with the mating. But defending, how do we know when to defend, when not to defend?
Yeah, there are laws in this country. There are laws in this country. In America, there is a constitution. The American Constitution is there. There are road traffic ethics. There are criminal codes. So a country is governed by laws. That's how to gauge yourself in terms of when to defend. And there are laws in this country, especially things like emotional abuse. If you tell your spouse, shut up there, you emotionally abuse them, they can call the police and put you to jail. Oh yeah, you don't know, you better know now. In America, you have to behave like a gentle lady or a gentle man. Okay? I remember in Washington, D.C., so I was in one of my god brother and god sister's home, and then they had this teenage child. So I had a boy asking the mother that, so mommy, so because of that, you yelled at me? So when your American-born child tells you, mommy, so because of that, you yelled at me, know that you are into trouble. So the mother quickly said, no, I didn't yell. I mean, I was just talking, but my voice was a little bit high. I'm sorry. Because she knows where this is going to land at. So if she consents that, yeah, that's why I yelled at you. Yelling at somebody is considered emotional abuse in America. I remember one lady, she was in New York before. I think she's in Columbus area now. So at some point in time, we were close. At some point in time, she called me on the phone and was crying. I said, what is happening? He said if his first son, he has gone to the military and he doesn't talk to her anymore. I said, but what happened? This boy was born here. They are from the Caribbean. So she said, oh, but she remembers when he was small, sometimes he does some things and she will spank him. I said, but you should know the laws in America now. She said, but in the Caribbean, we know, our parents spank us if we do something. I said, but you're not in the Caribbean, you're in America. She said, so, bottom line is that I had to gauge. You asked a nice question. How to gauge? Follow the laws of the land. If someone comes to point his hands or her hands in your face, that's not proper. Let them understand that, the country we live in, this is considered, an emotional abuse. So we see, the point is, because we're trying to be devotees, doesn't mean that we will circumvent the laws of this country. We cannot make new laws for ourselves. We have to follow the laid down rules. If you can't follow even the laid down rules in this country, why does it guarantee that we are going to follow the laws of Krishna where we don't have anyone policing us? Does it make sense? Yeah. So, we should know. And in the Vedic literature, there are so many things there. Even in chanting the holy name, there are so many instructions, offenses to be avoided. These are things that there are things we should do and we should not do. Read the Bhakti Samhita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. There are set down injunctions, behavior modification processes, how we should behave in a Vaishnava assembly. If you read the Nectar of Instruction by Rupa Goswami, it gives you delineations. How even to show your love for another person. I said we should read the scriptures. A Prabhupada mentions in the Gita, one of the purpose, the different type of aggressors. An aggressor, you can't carry a gun and kill an aggressor right now in this country, but you can call the police. There are some laws in the Manu Samhita, you cannot follow that in this country. But you can call the police if someone does something that is criminal. You don't take the laws into your hand because you will be criminalized. But someone is doing something wrong, call them. We should be friendly because if you talk to a friend, there's a way they respond. It's different from when you talk to somebody who is not your friend. No, because nobody wants anyone's control. So we always like to protect ourselves. And then we want to react in ways that we never can think of. So, Mataji, that's a nice point to raise. And when we read the scriptures, I recommend Bhakti Samhita Sindhu. There's so many injunctions there. How to gauge your life, what to do, what not to do. I mentioned in the beginning of the class, we are not reading. We are not reading. There's so many things we can know just by reading Prabhupada's books. Major books are there: Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, we should read these books. Please, we should read these books so that we know how to better behave amongst ourselves and checkmate people from going the excesses. All right? Does it help? All right. Thank you very much. I think I have to draw the curtain now because it's already 7:30, beyond 7:30. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Vasudev Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please be seated with quick announcements. Today's Sunday feast is sponsored by Dhirendra Jana Prabhu and Kuntala Mataji for their daughter Ishani's birthday. Are they here? So let's bless them with 3 times chanting Haribol. For the child, for the child. Somebody can sing. Birthday. Somebody can sing.
Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna to Ishani, Hare Krishna to you. May you never take birth again. May you never take birth again and go back to Godhead. Haribo.
Other quick announcements. Tomorrow evening we have program, New Year Eve program, December 31st, as everybody knows, 7 p.m. to midnight. We have Kirtan, quiz, games, and Gita quiz and presentation, and midnight Aarti. Shri Radha Gokulananda will be there. And our altar will be closed at 10 p.m. Then the January 1st New Year Eve, New Year program we have starts at 4:30. Everybody know Mangala Aarti. Please try to come if you can, since it is a holiday. And we have a Japathan, which means starting from 5:30 after Tulsi Aarti. 64 rounds of chanting. We have the screen there. So whoever would like to give the name and the number of rounds you would like to join for chanting, if you can, 64 rounds, that is great. But if you can only chant 16 rounds or 8 rounds or whatever, you can tell your name and the number. So it will appear on the screen.
We have to do it now.
Yeah.
We have to do that fundraising of holy name now. Fundraising of holy name. Right? Are you all ready? So 64 rounds. So 16 rounds is 25,000 names. 32 is 50,000. 64 is 100,000. 64. Can you? 64. Sachijivan Prabhu 64. Jay Prakash Prabhu 64. Dattata Prabhu, welcome. Let's welcome Dattata Prabhu with a loud Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Vajana Prabhu 64, Satish Prabhu 64. Srimati Mataji 64, Rishta Mataji 64. And Shreya 64. Krishnan Prabhu. Okay. Dattata Prabhu. Lakpati, would you like to become Lakpati on 1st January? Would you like to become Lakpati? Okay, you're flying.
Ashish Prabhu 5 rounds.
Ashish Prabhu 5 rounds.
Satyarani Mataji.
Satyarani Mataji 64. Where is Satya Dwakadish Prabhu? All right.
Don't be shy. You can
No.
do whatever round.
Yes, Mataji.
Amrita Leela.
Amrita Leela Mataji 64. 16. What's your name, Prabhuji? Swadesh Prabhu 16. Don't feel shy for 16, yes. 64. I forgot your names. Sanjini Mataji's uncle. But what's her name? Dev Keshav Prabhu. Dev Keshav Prabhu 64. Sukumari Mataji. Hari Bol, yeah, no, but we are not just Hari Bol. No, means we are asking for funds.
Adam Prabhu 32.
Adam Prabhu 32. Dwakesh 5. Gopi 5. Madhvi 5. And Kripa 5. All right. Anybody else? Sandini Mataji 64. Ramesh 64. Hari Bol. Very nice. Wonderful. Jai.
Anybody else?
What about our devotees here? Sudevi Mataji is still thinking. Govindanandani Mataji is still thinking.
Youth, kids.
What's the name, Mataji? Amuta Mataji 16. Anybody else? 32. Prajapati Prabhu? 32. All right. Shingamurti. Bolo, bolo. Lakpati bano. Radha Madhav Prabhu. Radha Madhav Prabhu 16. Sarva Sundar Gopal Prabhu 32. Dirgondar Prabhu 32. Dirgondar Prabhu 32. Shyam Sundar Prabhu 16. Shyam Sundar Prabhu 16. Anybody else? Don't feel shy, Matajis. Sachi Mata 32. What's your name, Babuji? Trailokya Prabhu 16. We already reached more than
Sunil Shyam Prabhu 64.
Sunil Shyam Prabhu 64. So Krishnan Prabhu will continue. Please start. Our goal is to reach, what are that figure is what, 10 million or something, 2.2 million right now?
Yeah.
It's 2 million right now. We want to get at least 10 million.
Kishore Bhopati Prabhu, how many? 16. Kishore Bhopati Prabhu, 16. Anybody else? 32. Dattatreya Prabhu, 32 rounds. Parthiban Prabhu, 16 rounds. And Pooja Mataji, 16. Surabhi Sundarajal Devi, 20 rounds. Wow. Haribol. Other kids want to join? Smita Mataji, 16 rounds. Your name, Prabhu, I forgot. Your name? James Prabhu, 16 rounds.
Car is blocking, Prabhu. Some car is blocking Mataji. For her car, it seems. She wants
Number కావాలి.
Z57? Z57? Mataji, what car is that?
Oh, it's a big SUV. It's blocking a couple of cars.
Hare Krishna, somebody's car, big SUV is blocking 7. What is it?
Z57EYN.
G57EYN number plate is blocking many cars. Please try to remove. Khyati Mataji, 20 rounds. Anybody else?
Somebody does at home.
So you can still give the names maybe end of the day before the Shine after around Shine Aarti time. And January 1st is also Ekadasi, Safala Ekadasi. The Parana time on January 2nd, Wednesday, 7:20 a.m. to 10:26. Vallabhacharya Prabhu, 32 rounds. Haribol. Subhankar Prabhu. 64, 32, how many rounds? January 1st. Here, not home. 60. Subhankar Krishna Prabhu, 16 rounds. Yeah. Okay, Haribol, please come back for Shayan Darshan at 8:30. Hare Krishna. And we have buffet, special New Year buffet on January 2nd, January 1st, 12 to 3. Please join.